Now it's time for Dan, because he has nothing else to do but read comic books all day.
How does that make the world better?
It's time once again for another Sweet Talkin' comic book review from Sweet Talkin' Sweet and Sweet. Sweet.
Hey folks, how you doing? Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video outhouse. It's time for
Sweet Talking with Sweet Dan, Sweet and Comic Book Man.
That's right. And we're coming to you from Alternate Reality, which is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, where all new comics are 15% off every day for everyone. Video Outhouse, as always, does reviews. Sweet Dan's doing 2 books today, but they have one thing in common. That's what they have in common.
Whip, whip, whip.
Whip, whip, whip. Spider-Man! We've got Spider-Man number
641 and 642.
641, which is the end of the
Omit.
One moment in time.
One moment in time storyline. And we've got Spider-Man number 642, which is the beginning of
Something species.
Origin of Species.
Origin of the species. Good call.
Origin of Species.
Something
Origin
species.
of Species. So, Dan,
yes.
you got 2 books.
Yep.
I assume you want to take them in chronological order.
Yes.
Since it's one after the other.
That makes sense, right?
So how is the last part of Omit?
All right.
One moment in time.
I thought it was good. It was good for a lot of reasons. But most of all, it was good
Yes.
because Spider-Man's still not married to Mary Jane.
Oh!
Yes! I'm all right with that. I heard a lot of people complaining, man. Brand New Day's gone on for a few years now, and there were still questions lingering from the One More Day.
Well, there's certain continuity problems that you just automatically create with this. I don't care how you try to smooth it over. There's just stuff that doesn't work anymore.
Give me an example.
Well, Mary Jane, after she had the baby, which doesn't exist.
Baby don't exist.
Nobody ever talked about it anymore. Went off to Europe for a couple of years, and Straczynski brought her back because she couldn't stand being with Peter anymore. Well, obviously she didn't go to Europe because of that, and she never came back because of him. And
Did she forget the baby in Europe?
She left
and
the baby
who the hell
in
knows what's going on with the baby?
It's working in a sweatshop.
It's
making Spider-Man
making
memorabilia.
sneakers. Making sneakers in Thailand.
No, see, it's the beautiful thing about comic books is you remember what you want to remember and you forget what you want to forget.
Great.
Spider Baby?
Great.
What's Spider Baby?
Yeah, I remember when continuity actually meant something.
Well, continuity does.
Continuity
mean
is whatever the hell you want it to be.
But that's the problem is with so much continuity, you get so many different interpretations of the characters over so many years. That what Spider Buggy is next? Is the Spider Buggy next, or that big symbol he wears that lights up crime?
Once upon a time, getting off the subject for just a second, but once upon a time, DC had this same problem, and Marvel used to go, "Oh, you suck! Look at us! We've only been around for 10 years, 15 years, and you can understand all of our continuity, but Superman, he's got all these problems with continuity. Batman, you know, what's right and what isn't, blah, 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 blah."
Do they really do it like that?
Well, you know what? You know, we're at the point now, actually we've been there for a while, where Marvel's continuity is so convoluted and so messed up and so sliced and diced that Marvel's in exactly the same boat.
They need a crisis.
They need a crisis.
This was Spider-Man's crisis.
Great.
Well, I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying for what they wanted to do, they did it. And they didn't let the fans' complaints, whether justified or not, deter them from what they were trying to do.
Now, does this thing within its own storytelling, does it pay off?
Yes.
Okay.
In my opinion, it does. Spider-Man seeks to not only save his Aunt May, which happened in One More Day,
right?
And it cost him his marriage to Mary Jane Watson Parker.
That was a deal he had to make with Mephisto.
The other genie he wanted to put back in the bottle was his secret identity, which he so foolishly revealed during Mark Millar's cash grab, that is Civil War. There was a lot of stuff like, how did Peter, fool everyone in the world into forgetting he was Spider-Man? Well, there's a little character called the Sentry, and if you know what the Sentry story is, you know what happened. He got the 3 smartest guys in the room, and they figured out a way to combine magic, science, and future tech, Tony Stark garbage, and do this mass hypnosis. Actually, I think Reed Richards called it infecting the world.
My attitude towards that is, what you were just talking about with the Sentry storyline and what they just did here. That is what is called in writing a cheap cop out. When they first and it might be a well written, cheap cop out. I'm not gonna diss that aspect of it, but it's still a cheap cop out. The revelation of Peter's identity to the world was something, when I saw it, I said to myself, this is going to be absolutely stupid to get out of, and they're going to get out of it because he's not going to be revealed to the world forever. But they're making this big deal. Look, he's revealed to the world, and it's obviously true because it's in 616. And Marvel, would we lie to you? No, but they would certainly jerk you around.
Well,
like they have here.
That's the thing. Yeah, was it going to stay public identity? No, of course not.
Yeah.
But when you approach this stuff, and you know what, honestly, it would have been genius to have a public Spider-Man in one universe. You have the Ultimate Universe Spider-Man, which is done insanely well for however long it's been around. They could have toyed with it, but because there's more at stake than just comics and comic book fans, there's T-shirts and video games and movies and garbage to sell. Yeah, they were going to have to do something to change it, and it was either this, or they just start over at #1 and say, hey, guess what? All that other stuff, yeah, you know.
Well, I've been saying for a while, Marvel at some point in the future is going to have to put 616 in a box and forget about it, move on to 617 and start all over again. Because
which is what I don't want.
There's so many patches and crazy glued together ideas
Sure.
and half-ass concepts that have been smoothed over to make look like they actually are viable in 616 now, that it's time to put it in a box. Start everything over again.
Why?
And I mean really start it, not an Ultimates thing, but start the Marvel universe over again.
But then do we tell all those same stories like they tried to do with the Ultimate Universe, or do we let new creators come on and do we take these characters in a way that you, as a guy who's been reading for a long time, may not recognize? Because Ultimate Universe tried to do that.
My demographic doesn't matter because my demographic is going to get old and die.
Whoa!
Seriously,
don't let the cat out of the bag.
Just like
Seriously.
every other demographic on the planet.
Seriously, my demographic is got the comic book industry by the nose and leading it around, and we are not the future of this industry. This guy's the future of this industry, but they're still writing for us, and it's just a mess when I look at it.
But they're not, and they're not trying to bring kids in enough, and you know what? I don't think Joe Quesada trying to live out his teenage ideas that Spider-Man should be swinging and single, no pun intended, but you're right. I mean, eventually they either have to move on to the next idea or not, but they're stuck in this stasis, you know, and that's what Brand New Day tried to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
All right.
Moving on.
Hey,
we do have a second book.
The art's really good too. Paulo Rivera.
Okay.
I like him.
We do have a second book, and that's the beginning of Origin of the Species, which is an Amazing Spider-Man 642. How's Origin of the Species? Part 1.
It is all over the place. Mark Waid writes this one instead of Joe Quesada, and Paul Azaceta illustrates it, and I love Paul Azaceta, so I love that new retro style of art that they've got going on. Him and Marcos Martin and Paulo Rivera and a bunch of others. Anyway, this is Dr. Octopus trying to get everybody that's bad in a costume to hunt something down for him.
What's he trying to hunt down?
He's trying to hunt down Lily Hollister's baby.
Why?
Who the hell knows? It's the first issue of a comic book. You never find out anything in the first issue of a comic book anymore. Okay. It's like, he wants the baby. Why? Find out next issue.
Okay.
It's all right. I think after something like One Moment in Time, which was really an emotionally roller coaster of a story, to go right into this sort of beat everything up with little rhyme or reason yet. And Mark Waid's a very talented writer, and I will give him the full benefit of the doubt that by the end of this story, everything will make sense. His Spider-Man stuff has been solid gold. I don't know what the hell's happening.
Okay.
Spider-Man's fighting two guys, and Lily Hollister's baby gets taken by Doc Ock, and then the issue ends.
How's the art in this?
Paul Azaceta, it's awesome. It's that new retro stuff. It's even got the 2-page Marcos Martin Stanley backup, and it's only $2.99. I don't know what's going on. Okay. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, then they both get big thumbs up.
Two of them. I love Spider-Man.
Okay, so you can read more of Dan's reviews at the store's website. And where's the store's website at? If you listen closely, you can hear the phone telling us.
That's Sarah calling.
marketreality.com.
Good sandwich.
So, stop off at the store's website and check out all of Dan's reviews. And until next time, this is Comic Book Dan.
This is Sweet Dan Sweet.
Saying, Mary Jane and Lana Lang really have a lot in common now. We were talking about this before we rolled. I'm not going to go into any depth with it, but if you read this book and figure out where Mary Jane's head's at in her universe, it's the same as Lana Lang.
Don't think too hard.
So, until next time, bye!
The Video Outhouse is brought to you by some of the finest people willing to work for free. This is a list of some of them.